So my question is twofold. I want to know about the individuals who are in training who made these makeshift weapons, who have the pamphlets and all of that. Is that one certain group? Would you call this a new breed of homegrown terrorists that we should be worried about here in New York City if you're tracking them across America? And then my second question is about that impressive tactic of going into the building on that Bearcat that was dramatic and impressive to see. Was there something about the timing of when you did that? Can you paint a picture of what was going inside, what you could see on the drones? With those makeshift weapons, was violence imminent, and did you think at that point you have to go in?
So Commissioner Wine in particular first, and then Chief Members to get to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's really important to very, in a nuanced way, describe what we're seeing. And I wouldn't describe it as a new breed of homegrown terrorism. There is, though, a concern around radicalization, as the mayor and the police commissioner have conveyed, I think, very effectively. This is a time when, if you have, and to your point about being more specific, last week there was the wife of somebody who had been convicted for material support to terrorism on campus, and we have no evidence of any criminal wrongdoing on her part. But that's not somebody who I would want necessarily influencing my child if I were a parent of somebody at Columbia, or the individuals who are involved in doing some of this training and tactical awareness activity. These students don't come in the doors knowing how to barricade themselves behind barriers that they've created, right? These are all skills that are taught and learned, and that presents a problem. And so, this is not about policing ideas in any way, shape, or form. It is about recognizing when there is an actual public safety concern. And we mentioned this yesterday, but it's worth reiterating to the protesters themselves. If you're barricaded in a building and an emergency happens, there's a risk to you. So it's specific, and we have to be calibrated, but we also have to be open and honest about what we're seeing, and we're seeing a trajectory that concerns us. Oh, yeah, so some images of stuff that was recovered, and, there was the image on the bottom left was pretty widespread distribution in the initial weeks after October 7th, and when we saw a lot of big numbers of individuals in protests, which is just a map of locations that were focused on for protest activity. Imagery on the top right suggesting fomenting chaos and squatting as a tactic, which we've seen in protests previously, some zip ties and some what we would call a very rudimentary makeshift weapon. And I think the reason for all of the protective gear that you saw last night, and I don't want to speak for my colleagues who specialize in this, is to protect officers when you're going into a situation that you don't fully understand what might greet you on the other side of the door. So this is important, and it is not just a New York City issue. It's obviously not just a Columbia issue. We saw it spread to CCNY last night, but this is unfolding across the country and in Europe as well. So this is a challenge we're all going to be dealing with for some time.
So good morning, everyone. So it took carefully planning, especially with the chief of the department, Chief Madry, and also all the executive boards, chief members that in our department, to plan this tactics to enter this building. So as we saw, there was several areas where it was barricaded by several items, such as vending machines, chairs, tables, and so on. And as we enter, it was very difficult for us to get in and push our way through because they were throwing objects at us. So it was very difficult. So the amount that it took us, we went pretty quickly, but it was we tactically had every team around the building to enter that building. So there was carefully planning.